Hello, welcome back to my channel. Happy to find you here. If you're new, thank you for subscribing. I hope you stay for a very long while, and I hope you also join me and others in sharing my channel. I am addressing DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, I did a post not so long ago about the topic as it began to what I call crumble about itself, particularly in the whole talk of Target stores and other stores. It's not just Target, but Target is the target. I'll put it that way. I did a short post then, and this would be a short post too. And I won't delve into I would call it the professional understanding by which I am so concerned in some degree bothered about the changes occurring in DEI, but just as a general understanding to say you're not in that field of it. You're not a legislator, you're not a practitioner of it, you're a viewer. And just to give you this, what I call summary, particularly in juxtaposition of Black History Month, then and now. So let's look at DEI as now, and back then, civil rights. If you're not careful, how can I put it? I don't use notes. I speak truth, so notes are not necessary. If you're not careful and you're not in the realm of DEI by way of practitioner or profession, you could easily be fooled by the climate and the acronym of what it actually is. I'll put it that way. Because what often happens is the opponents of it, they who will not benefit by it, they who will not, in their mind, progress from it, they who will not be able to capitalize on it, want to keep the status quo of what it was before and stop there. However, DEI is a train to move forward so that we don't have to stop there, if that makes sense to you. In other words, let's remove the propaganda piece. Okay, let's just talk about it. If we're not careful, what happens if you kind of like say, I'm just going to Google what is DEI really all about? You will find it juxtaposed with civil rights and the progress of the 60s or 70s or 80s and how it's progressed along. But the present day DEI by which we're talking about this being dismantled right before us all is not that. It stands on the shoulders of that. Does that make sense? Is that better? It is not that in its entirety. It stands on the shoulders of that. Okay? So let's look at that. Let's look at that briefly. Let's see if I could bring together a better formulation of it. When you look at DEI as a person who's not practicing and weren't involved in the pushing of legislation for it, you will find things like its phases. It's 1960, 1970, it's 10-year phase of the 70s to the 90s, or the 70s to the 80s, and the 80s to the 90s, and so on and so forth. And you will find it juxtaposed with like civil rights, affirmative action, and other measures by which they thought that only applies to Blacks. So the verbiage changes that it would apply to minorities in general to not call out Blacks. But when you take it out, the impact hits Blacks the greatest. And so it's the underlying pieces that you don't see. The current state DEI took the legislation to a more pro-forward measure. It moved the needle forwardly. And that legislation was extremely important because it took out the language that would include an anti-discriminatory type of hiring or firing against a diverse group of people, and particularly Blacks. This is the true working pieces of it. This is the true working pieces of it. So for it to be dismantled is it's just bothersome, particularly during Black History Month. It is a poke and a push and a pound all at one time. Now I know that sounds vicious or violent, but that's what the reality is. DEI had to rebirth itself on the heels of prior progress and then elevate forward. When you remove it, you shake back not only that progress, but you dismantle the DEI legislation and the DEI compatibility at these companies in its entirety. Because what you do is you give the companies a say as to what they will or will not do. And if I know anything by way of factuality, the best way to get a company to perform in compliance is by legislation. They don't want to violate legislation. They don't want to hurt compliance. So when you remove that, they get to do whatever they want to do all over it. They get to decide for themselves. And that's where we are. That's the part that's bothersome for me, particularly as involved as I was. To me, it's almost like saying, well, I guess I'm repeating myself because I did put this in my other video, and I'll drop that in the comment section and the description box for you. I did say it's kind of like making it to the Super Bowl, but when you got there, you were told you can't play. And you go, why not? I earned this spot. Well, we just decided we're not going to host it at all together. Well, when did you never not host a Super Bowl since it started? It doesn't make sense by which it shouldn't go forth from all the labor that you had to make it as formidable and useful and pliable and helpful and suitable and unquestionable to just like make it go away. To just make it go away. You see, that's a problem. That's a problem. Because as we're getting an understanding, is as these companies make a choice to dismantle or not incur or not to practice a DEI at their company, they are also telling you their thought process regarding progress. So let me say that again. As we are in a position of choice, I'll put it that way, for many companies, whatever that final choice is, they are showing you their thought process towards progress or lack thereof. Because who would want to do all of that work? Even most of these companies have already done all that work. They already created the DEI at their company. They began practicing it. They began training their staff. And then they say, we don't need to do that anymore. It doesn't make any sense. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh, it didn't die, it just kind of went away or it's reshuffling, to that I say you don't know enough about it, respectfully. I can't tell you how many people have responded to me, probably because of my broken heart. They know how I feel about it. And they say, oh, it didn't go. It has changed its climate. So how can I put that in a way that's understandable? Okay. It's like saying, I came to buy a luxury car. I'm ready for the luxury car. I identified the one I want. I have my down payment. I'm here. And then you go, you know what? That car is not available to you anymore. Here is a compact car for you. Yet the car is still in the lot. And you're like, why can't I get that one? Well, it's just not available. Did someone else buy it? I offered you a down payment. I'm here for that one. You go, yeah, but now we don't. No, just get a compact car. It's like that. That's what it's like. There's no sound reason why you can't have that luxury car. That luxury car is what you worked for all this time. That luxury car is what you have devoted your hard-earned efforts toward. A compact car, you could have had that years ago. That's what it already was a compact car. That's how I look at DEI. DEI is the luxury car that we did all this work for. But you want to keep us in a compact because that's all you think we're worth. Well, you know what? How wrong you are. How wrong you are. You want to keep us in a compact because that is the value by which you attribute to us. When the reality is, we are the luxury car. The purchase is not required. We are that. We are that I am somebody. And the difficulty that doesn't make sense, that has happened. There you go. The difficulty that has happened hasn't happened because of a lack of progress on our behalf. It's happened as a lack of progress on yours. Now, ain't that something? Put that in the trash compact. Okay. If you've gotten this far, please click like, please click subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Happy Black History. Now, ain't that something? Bye.